G'day there folks, Andrew Griffiths here. Today what I want to talk about in this video and in perhaps the next few videos as well is around the mindset and combining mindset and habits to get our writing done. Because realistically, let's be honest, the hardest part of writing a book is this. You know, at some stage in the game, even in the world of AI, you know, if you want to write a great book, it's going to come back to you taking the time to sit behind a computer and a keyboard and to actually be able to kind of pour out what needs to be said in your book and cover the ground that you want to cover. A few very simple kind of tips that I've used over the years and throughout all of my books is first and foremost is I really make a point of getting myself into the right headset and mindset, I guess, when I'm starting the writing process. So I work out very clearly where I finished last and I pick up where I'm at now. Now, to do that, what I like to do is spend a few minutes getting prepared, and I think that the preparation time is a really great investment. If you just kind of open the document and start to try and write, what you end up with is often your writing looks a little bit schizophrenic. I wrote it there, it looks like 7 or 8 or 9, 10 people are writing the one book. So I get myself very organized and I make a point of going, okay, so my last writing session, I go back and I read a few of the paragraphs that I wrote last time and just kind of get my head back into that voice. And that gives you great continuity throughout the actual writing process. I make a point of planning what it is I'm going to be writing today. So I look through my list of chapters and I go, okay, well, that's the one that leapt out at me today. So that's the one that I'm going to write. So I start to bullet point it. I generally do a bit of a mind map around that chapter. I've got a pretty good idea what I want to write about, but I just start to add a little bit of structure to it. And then I start the writing process, and a really important tip here is that I give it 5 or 10 minutes. And if it's not flowing easily, I walk away and I start another chapter. I never waste a whole writing session on a chapter that's just not working. It's just not coming easily. Okay, so, you know, your writing time is precious. The last thing you want to do is really have a difficult session, which at the end of it, the outcome is not very good. Another part, the third part, I think for me that is so critical in this process is that visualization that I've talked about many times of really visualizing who I'm writing this book for, my ideal reader, as someone who I know, someone who really fits into that ideal reader category, and they're in my mind and I'm sitting down like I'm writing it to them. So that, again, all of these things that I'm talking about around mindset and habit are focusing me, bringing me back in, making sure the continuity is there in my writing, okay? And then the fourth thing that I do is I really make a point of revisiting the central question that my book is asking, that they're asking in reality, the ideal reader. And I make sure, am I answering that central question? Am I on track with that? And that's another kind of critical piece of this. And the last part, the fifth part of this that for me helps me to get my writing style happening is I ask the question, would I use this kind of language if I was sitting across from the person who's my ideal reader and talking to them? And if the answer is no, then I've got to kind of change my language accordingly. Now, if you think about, you know, really applying each of those ideas of, you know, just revisiting what you wrote last time, mind mapping the chapter ahead and making sure that if it's working, you stick to it, thinking about your ideal reader, you know, moving on if it's not working, and then of course asking about the central question. If you just kind of develop your own framework around that, you'll find that you'll actually get into your writing a lot easier, but also your continuity will be much better, the quality will be much better, and people will really notice that when they're reading your book, that they'll kind of say things like, oh, it felt like you were sitting there talking to me. And that's really what we're looking for. Writing a book is so much about mindset. It is so much about getting our head right, but we've got to have the right mindset and we've got to combine that with the right habits. By me having these habits at the beginning of each of my writing sessions, I save a huge amount of time and the quality of my writing is a whole lot better. I hope you find this idea useful. My idea or my suggestion for you really is to kind of come up with your own framework for getting started for each session and then apply that, and you'll find that you'll have far less wasted time and far fewer blank screens staring back at you. All right, thanks folks. Andrew Griffiths, founder of Author Academy, over and out.